The man convicted of kidnapping former Vallejo resident Denise Huskins in 2015, which Vallejo police initially called a hoax, is facing more charges. Matthew Mueller is now accused of two 2009 home invasions and sexual assaults in Mountain View and Palo Alto.
He was arraigned today to hear the formal charges against him in San Jose. ABC 7 News 9 team reporter Melanie Woodrow has been following this case for years now, quite literally, and is here with a look at these new charges, Melanie.
Dan and Stephanie, he did appear in person today in court for that arraignment. This is all thanks to advances in DNA forensic evidence. Following a new lead, the Santa Clara County DA's office coordinated with Palo Alto and Mountain View police departments to send all evidence back to the crime lab for further testing. Convicted kidnapper Matthew Mueller is now facing new charges for crimes he allegedly committed 15 years ago.
Convicted kidnapper Matthew Mueller facing new charges for crimes he allegedly committed 15 years ago.
We're very fortunate that this is a case that was continued to be worked on.
The Santa Clara County District Attorney's Office says the notorious kidnapping convict committed a series of home invasion sexual assaults in Mountain View and Palo Alto. With advances in forensic DNA testing, District Attorney criminalists found Mueller's DNA on straps he allegedly used to bind one of his victims.
All the evidence that we have points to the one defendant, Matthew Mueller.
Mueller is now facing 2 felony counts of committing a sexual assault during a home invasion for the 2009 crime. According to the Santa Clara County DA's office, in the early hours of September 29, 2009, Mueller broke into a woman's Mountain View home, attacked her, tied her up, made her drink a concoction of medications, and said he was going to rape her. After the victim in her 30s persuaded him to stop, he suggested she get a dog and left. On October 18, 2009, Mueller allegedly broke into a Palo Alto home, bound and gagged a woman in her 30s, and made her drink NyQuil. He then began to assault her before she also persuaded him to stop. The DA's office says he gave her crime prevention advice before leaving. Both cases were investigated and went unsolved.
What we have been able to do is to eventually solve these 2 serious crimes, even though 15 years lapsed. Were these 2 investigations handled perfectly? No.
6 years later, Mueller gained national attention in what was mistakenly called the Gone Girl kidnapping, named after a book and movie where a woman fakes her own abduction. Vallejo police initially accused Denise Huskins' then-boyfriend Aaron Quinn of murdering her. When she turned up 2 days later in SoCal, VPD accused the couple of making up the kidnapping. Mueller had broken into the couple's Vallejo home, drugged and tied them up before kidnapping and sexually assaulting Huskins at a cabin in South Lake Tahoe. Detective Misty Caruso put the case together while investigating a thwarted Dublin home invasion in which Mueller left his cell phone behind. Mueller pleaded guilty to kidnapping Huskins in 2016 and pleaded no contest to sexually assaulting her in 2022. He's serving a 40-year sentence in federal prison in Tucson, Arizona.
If convicted of these new charges, Mueller faces life in prison. Denise Huskins tells me that she and Aaron Quinn are aware of the charges and they're working with law enforcement regarding additional cases as well. She told me she couldn't say more about that due to the ongoing investigations.
Interesting. So we'll wait to see what his plea is for next steps.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, Mel.
All right, go through the timeline for you here a little bit. The saga began on March 23, 2015, when Mueller broke into the home of Huskins' boyfriend, tied him up, and kidnapped Huskins. Huskins turned up alive 2 days later near her parents' Huntington Beach home, as you've heard. On March 27th, authorities labeled the case a hoax, claiming they found no proof of a kidnapping. In June of 2015, the Alameda County Sheriff's Office arrested Mueller as a suspect in a home invasion robbery near Dublin. Investigators soon found similarities between the robbery and the Huskins kidnapping. Mueller pleaded guilty to kidnapping charges in September of 2016. He was sentenced to 40 years in prison in March of 2017.